This story was written by Skywrites, so if you like this video, consider supporting them as well. They have an AO3 account, a Ko-fi, and a Twitter, so, leave a kudos on their story, maybe donate, give them some love. And don't forget the artist who made the cover. They are Afraid Symphony on DeviantArt and Tumblr. Links are in the description. Hello, it's GK. We're closing in on the end of this series, actually. This is the penultimate chapter. That's right. Only this one and the next one. Because after that, the next one's the last one, so it'll be done after that. Wow, yeah. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, I'm not sure if I'll be finishing this, both of them, before the summer ends, but that's kind of my goal. We'll see what happens. Anyway, today we're doing chapter 11. You'll try again. Which, okay, I'm pretty sure that all these titles for the chapters are actually references to a song or something. I haven't looked it up, but if they are, then this is also a neat little double meaning to, there's that song from Dream Team called Try Again. Anyway, let's get into it. Lightning and thunder crackled in a black sky, its razor-sharp teeth biting down thunderbolts into the earth. Cackletta's tower loomed over us, its tilted figure seemingly threatening to collapse at a moment's notice, crushing us in an instant, suffocating us in its metal and plaster. This is it, Luigi. This is where Mario died. This is where you have to confront an ancient witch whose power seems to be matched only by the most terrible of demons. You can do this. You have a vacuum at your side, a doll, and the world's most notoriously pathetic minion, a Goomba. Should be no problem, right? Goombella glared my way, somehow able to tell I was thinking rude thoughts about Goombas. I apologized before she even opened her mouth. Chief Toadstool was kind enough to lend us a police car for our travels. Or perhaps she knew Geno would take one regardless of what she said. Either way, he was very clear about being the driver, leaving Goombella and I in the back seat. Less suspicious, he said, although I failed to see how a doll driving a police car wasn't suspicious. We parked out in front of the tower across the street. Rain poured down like brimstone, pounding into the car so hard that the roof creaked. It wasn't raining this much last time I was here. Wind howled into the empty city, sucking up any litter, trash, or posters into the dark maw in the sky. Nervous? Geno asked, turning from the front seat to us, his wooden face revealing nothing as usual. Nervous? Nervous? Of course I was nervous. I was a Koopa without a shell. I was a Cheep out of water. Goombella informed me that Cheeps actually don't have much trouble out of water if they have the proper training. I was a Yoshi without anything to eat. I was a Mario brother. Without the brother. Nah, I'm not scared, Goombella said with a toothy grin, although I saw the way she shook, heard the lightness in her voice. Anyone else might not have picked up on it, but I am a professional coward, and I can see the signs of fear. I've been up against worse. I'm not quite sure you have, Geno said without humor. I have gone toe-to-toe with Smithy, a demigod, or possibly even a god, and even I am unsure of Cackletta's power. Well, not much is known about her, Goombella went on, staring outside the rainy windows, using my lap to get a better view. She really did not understand personal space. But even if she is a witch with powers from the underworld, I've dealt with similar things. Yes, but you had Mario with you, I reminded her. That cut into her confidence. Goombella bit her lip. You can be a bit of a downer, Luigi. I knew that. All too well. At least she wasn't stuck with me like I was. Geno shushed us. Quiet. Look, someone is approaching the tower. A small, green fellow, cloaked in red, slogged miserably through the rain, an enormous metal knife in his scrawny arms. Swirly glasses hid dangerous eyes, a large mouth filled to the brim with teeth, bit down into a harsh frown as he lugged the thing towards the door. He wore a strange metal contraption atop his head, but it was looking as slumped, broken, and out of fuel as he was. "That's Fawful," Goombella pointed out, pressing her face against the window alongside me. Considering she'd never seen the being in person, she was certainly accurate. "And what's that he's got?" "Mac!" Geno's voice held a rare uncertainty. "Mac? That's one of Smithy's lieutenants," Goombella said in her explanation mode. "Probably the weakest of the bunch, but still one of his top men. He's known for commanding the shysters, his love of all things bouncy, and awful fire magic." You know, I just realized that this is that her knowing everything is a reference to her tattle ability in the games. Yeah, that's pretty late to the party, I know. And, as per usual, we got her opinion on him, too. Real tacky guy, honestly. He's literally just a giant knife with eyeballs and a spring between his hilt and his blade so he can bounce around. That's it. Totally uncreative. Geno was stunned. "How in the world do you know more about Smithy's army than I?" "Honestly?" Goombella paused, unsure if she wanted to reveal her secrets. "Internet." "Ah. Yeah, I do a lot of research on Mushipedia." "Still, very impressive memory and research skills." "Thanks, but, She squinted, trying her best to stare through the misty rain. "Does it look like Mac is dead to you guys, too?" I strained as well, pressing my nose down against the glass, trying to get the annoying bulbous thing out of my vision for once. Mac was as she described, a giant knife with eyes and some springs. There was not much to him besides the occasional red of Smithy's insignia, but even that was hard to see, as it looked like the knife monster had taken some fatal damage. Sparks and wires leaked out of his hilt between his eyes, and oil spewed onto the ground haphazardly, leaking into the concrete and most certainly under Fawful's fingernails. Yuck. "I'm not sure if the thing is dead, or if it ever was truly alive," Geno mused. "But I believe it may still be functional. Look, its eye twitched." Maybe he's of better use to them alive." Goombella turned to Geno, still just standing on my lap, like that was an okay thing to be doing. "Shouldn't we do something? Maybe jump out and nab him? Yell something totally cool, like, 'Freeze, scumbag!'" She screamed that in my ear. Geno didn't even flinch, his eyes focused on the target. "Soon, I believe Fawful will alert Cackletta to his presence and most likely unlock that front door. Watch." Sure enough, it played out just like Geno thought it would.
"Finkrats!"
Fawful gurgled, his tiny fists pounding weakly against the door.
"Have the opening this instant! Fawful is tired, and the wetness is doing a ruin to my cloak!"
A comforting, familiar voice wafted into my ears, even way back here and through the thundering rain somehow. Don't worry about how. Let's say we could hear them because of star power. Geno probably did it.
"What's the password?"
A sniffly voice asked suspiciously through the now open peephole in the door.
"I have fury!"
Fawful shouted, his body trembling with weakness and rage.
"Have the opening right now, or Fawful will be melting you like a cheese of Swiss!"
"Oh, dude, yeah, that's exactly it."
There was probably an unlocking noise before the door swiveled open quickly, revealing the pleasant dark form of my good friends, the Sniffets.
"Come on in, I guess. Don't you usually just fly in?"
Fawful ground his teeth together like an avalanche of boulders.
"You, Finkrat!"
He gasped as number one just watched him attempting to lug the enormous metal monster through the door.
Do you not have eyes with which to see? Waffle has no fuel left after his daring fight. Have a calling at Cackletta right away. I cannot be bringing this scrap of most heaviness to the top. Why do you not help Waffle with the carrying?
Number one shrugged.
You didn't ask. I thought maybe you just really liked carrying it.
Gah!
Fafel screeched with frustration.
Help Waffle now!
Didn't you want me to call Grandma down first?
Number one was still standing there, despite having two potential tasks. Mac's body fell to the ground with a wet thud as Fafel's hands became more preoccupied with attempting to strangle number one.
Teehee.
The sniffet squeaked.
That tickles. Okay, I'll go get Grandma for you, bud.
Dodo!
Fafel was at wit's end, which is a long way from joke's end, and way worse.
Stupid feathery fiend! Where is Bird?
Number three appeared in the doorway, in the exact same spot as number one had been in.
Oh, I sent him out to get some chop kibble. You know, for the chain chomps that we own, in case you forgot.
Fafel turned away from the doorway, his glasses a foggy rage, his mouth a mess of teeth and saliva. For but a moment, I could swear I saw the glimmer of a tear run down his cheek.
I have so much hatred for you, Fink Rats.
Shouldn't we bust him? Goombella asked worriedly, unable to stand still atop my legs. Let's go while the getting's good. Geno didn't move a splinter. Not yet. We want Cackletta in our sights.
Here, let me get that pogo stick for you, guy.
Number three said happily, lifting Mac like the 5-ton machine was just a plastic toy. They quickly scooched into the tower, beans and all, slamming the door behind them. Goombella grit her fangs. I knew we should have made a move! She quickly opened the door, used my legs like a diving board, and slipped out into the rain, rushing towards the tower's entrance. She is much too impatient. Geno shook his head, slowly making his way out to follow her. A brilliant mind, but a rock-hard head. Come, Luigi. Reminds me of someone when it comes to a certain smith. Okie dokie, I replied, following his lead. I made sure to lock up the car doors, turn off the lights, and vacuum up any loose dirt we left on the floor. As we approached this terrifying tower of torment, I couldn't help wondering, why didn't we take more toads? If Cackletta truly is a powerful witch, shouldn't we send a small army to her arrest? A fair question, Geno said, rain plinking peacefully on his wooden frame. I suppose it is simply because I wish to minimize any possible casualties. Maybe for a lesser criminal, an army of toads and fireflowers and lumas would make things quite simple. But for an evildoer like Cackletta or Smithy, it is best to take a few of your strongest heroes and get the job done. That all made sense, except this implied I was a hero. A small noise escaped out of Geno's mouth. Exactly. Maybe Geno wasn't quite so wise if he thought I was strong. Ugh, it's no good, Goombella groaned, her mouth gnawing on the door handle. Already locked. She allowed herself back on the ground and took a few steps back, narrowing her eyes. Well, nothing a good bonking can't solve. Wait, Geno ordered, freezing the Goomba in her tracks. You won't break it down, and you'll alert them to our position. Rain drenched Goombella's bright blonde hair into a dark, sticky mess across her blue uniform. Well, why don't you use your fancy star power to knock it down, you know? It would take quite a bit of energy to break it. I sense that it is reinforced with dark magic. There's another way, but we must be silent. Listen. It came from behind the door. It was her. A hideous sound slithered into our ears.
Oh, Waffle, you have done well. Thank you. Oh, great, Cackletta.
A huffing voice panted.
I have many apologies for being unable to bring this metal machine to the tippiest top of your tower.
Oh, that doesn't matter now. I've heard that fool Smithy's been arrested. And they've probably taken that oh-so-precious crystal star away from him, too.
Yes,
Pant.
more than likely.
Oh, yes. With that blockhead Smithy's power on the same level of a common beetle, I think we'll find my powers to be a little more persuasive on his ugly creations. And once I control this minion, it'll only be a matter of time before I control the rest of Smithy's army, then his factory, and then the whole city!
Doesn't look like any beetle I've ever seen.
Someone sniffed.
Quiet, you useless idiot!
Cackletta hissed.
I need concentration for a monster this big.
A low, crackling hum began to fill the air, overpowering the voices inside the tower. We could no longer hear them, and hopefully they couldn't hear us. Outside, Goombella looked quite gloomy.
What do we do? We have to stop her!
Geno turned his head toward the stars. There is a window.
Huh? You nuts?
Goombella craned her body to look up. Sure enough, there were some large glass windows overlooking the tower's entrance.
How are we supposed to get all the way up there? Can you fly or something? Or do you think you can just jump?
She stopped herself mid-sentence. They turned to me.
What? What? No! They didn't think I could do that, did they?
Mario once told me his jumping skills were only surpassed by your own, Luigi. Geno said. If anyone can leap through that window, it's you.
Oh my gosh, he's totally right!
Goombella said, hardly able to contain her twinkling eyes.
I forgot all about that. I've heard that you're the best jumper in the whole of New Donk City. Maybe even the whole world.
Me? Well, okay, not to toot my own horn, but I guess I am pretty decent at jumping. And running, too. Pretty much anything that involves running away, I'll admit, I'm okay at. And it's only because I'm related to Mario. It's nothing to do with my own skills.
Yeah, you're full of self-doubt. We get it.
Goombella groaned.
Let's skip to the part where you just realize you can do it, jump through that window, and unlock the door for us.
Geez, so pushy. It's not like I draw things out that much. I mean, sure, I have a lot of thoughts and feelings, but who doesn't? It's perfectly normal, and Luigi!
Okie dokie!
Shrieked, my legs already tensing at the thought of that jump I had to make. The window was more than a few stories up. Even for me, this was going to be difficult. Maybe if I felt the cold metal of the poltergeist at my back. It was weighing me down. But what if it did the opposite of that? I reached for the nozzle and pointed it at the ground. As all vacuums have these settings, I set it to blow instead of suck, and dug my shoes down into the concrete, feeling my muscles coil up like springs. I opened my eyes, only realizing that I had closed them later. When my sight returned to me, I noticed I was flying high in the rainy air. My body demanded its own survival and scooted itself under the ledge. My shoes slipped against the edge, slick with rainwater and filth. To my left was the large window into the tower's entryway, the glass oozing a purple glow.
Holy cow, Luigi!
Goombella quietly shouted, looking like nothing more than a pink speck from up here.
You really did it! Not that I didn't believe in you.
Good, Geno said evenly. Somehow I could hear him perfectly, like he was right next to my ear. Now just get through the window and open the front door for us. I know it's scary, but you can do it, Luigi.
Okay, dokie.
I said shakily, trying to find any surface I could cling to up here. There really wasn't anything, just slick, rainy walls. How was I supposed to get in through the window? I pressed my body against it in the hopes of defying gravity. Didn't seem like there was an unlocking mechanism around here, or a way to slide it open. Well, as luck, or unluck, would have it, there was usually always one safe bet on how to open a window. I heard something crack at my belly, the telltale sign of danger, the telltale sign that a hero should move and be ready. But I'm not a hero. I just froze up and preserved my body harder against the breaking window. Before I knew it, the window gave way into 1,000 tiny, shiny pieces, tumbling down into the foyer, and me screaming along with them.
What?
I heard Cackletta groan.
Yo, we did it! The absolute madman!
Number 3 cried out.
I mean, not much of a ceiling hole, but you gotta applaud the effort into making a hole for falling through.
Mustache? Now?
Faffel's voice panted out, too tired to add more.
You idiots! Someone deal with him!
The world was a mess of color. Yellow, black, green, and purple. I felt the clothy nub of number 3 helping me up to my feet, wiping the loose glass off my suspenders.
Hey man, good to see you again. Really respect your hole making and falling skills. I'll make sure to tell number 1 all about it. And number 2 if I ever see him again.
Huh? Me? Number 3 was helping and respecting me? I knew Sniffets really are good people.
You bumbling beetle brains!
Cackletta screeched, her claws preoccupied with the now floating Mac before her.
I meant end him! Stop him!
Oh, show him the door out of here, Grandma?
Number 3 sniffed.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Come on, guy. I love what you did, and I guess your talent is wasted. I'm gonna have to get you out of here.
No, no, no!
Cackletta screamed, the room growing darker at her helpless rage.
Waffle, do something! I can't stop this spell once it's started!
Yes, Cackletta. Of course.
Fawful wheezed, panting his way over to me and just sort of grabbing at my suspenders weakly. I brushed him off politely.
Anyway, here's that door I was talking about.
Number 3 said, motioning to said door he was talking about.
Pretty nice door, right? I gotta open it up now, with my hand. The door, that is. I'm going to be opening it.
He reached slowly for the knob.
Right now. It's what I'm doing. Opening the door, that is to say.
This isn't happening!
Cackletta shouted, spit dribbling out of her lips.
The door being opened?
Number 3 asked, his nub still reaching forward, slowly.
No, that is exactly what is happening. The door is being opened. Right now.
Stop, you fool!
Click. Wham. The door slammed open.
NDPD, nobody move!
Goombella cried, hopping in valiantly. GBI, Geno said evenly, walking through the front door. He held out his star badge.
Ah, snap.
Number 3 sniffed, freezing in place like a statue. She did say nobody move. For once in my life, I got to witness someone else freeze up in terror, see someone else shriek in fear. And somehow that person was Cackletta. Her eyes widened, her body practically melted. Her arms were still outstretched over the hovering and writhing Mac.
Pests! Loathsome pests!
She screeched.
And at the worst possible moment! Do not have the fear, Cackletta.
Fawful wheezed, his sweating, crooked body standing before Goombella and Geno.
Fawful will take care of them.
Like you did with Captain Toad? Goombella asked, clearly just a wild stab in the dark.
That was accident! Stupid idiot! Foolishness was being Fawful's way!
Fawful retorted in a sweaty burst of rage.
Eep!
He covered his enormous mouth.
I'm surrounded by useless fools!
Cackletta screamed. Sounds like an admission of guilt if I ever heard it, Goombella said with a smirk.
No!
Fawful's entire body was trembling, but not the fear of being arrested. Cackletta was boiling with anger.
I am just having the tired's. Fawful cannot think. It was accident. Fawful will be telling the story again. Fawful rehearsed this quite well.
He panted and coughed, sputtering all over the tiles as he tried to pose with his cloak.
Fawful was looking for smithy minions, and
He huffed. Those swirly glasses of his appeared to only make him dizzier.
a minion appeared, and Toad and Fawful had to flee. But Toad was in Fawful's way, so Fawful...
Killed him? Goombella filled in the blanks.
No!
Fawful shrieked. He was woozy.
It was accident! Fawful only meant to harm, or at least did not get caught!
Keep your stupid mouth shut for once, Fawful!
Cackletta screamed. Fawful nodded. He put up his trembling fists, glaring our way.
You are having the correct, my most wise Cackletta.
Drool dripped from his massive teeth as he panted.
Fawful will protect you, like you did for Fawful from that nasty plumber. Prepare for...
Bonk.
Gak!
He toppled to the ground, tongue rolling out of his massive mouth. Goombella bonked him unconscious with ease.
That idiot.
Cackletta hissed under her breath, fuming. She was still stuck in place with a floating Mac under her spell.
Maybe you shouldn't have pushed him so hard,
Goombella said, awfully empathetic for someone who just knocked the guy unconscious. Cackletta said nothing else, growls escaping through her grit fangs.
Cease your magic this instant,
Geno ordered. Her arms trembled as they appeared to be stuck in glue, struggling to free themselves from the spell-casting position.
You fools! I would have done that a long time ago if I could!
Geno shrugged. Fine by me. He produced a pair of handcuffs from his cloak, dangling them smugly around his wooden finger as he approached her. You're under arrest for the suspected murder of Captain Toad and Mario of the Mario Brothers. Cackletta grunted, her arms still struggling, her entire body stuck. However, Mac was looking awfully twitchy. His eyes were open now.
Don't you touch me!
Cacketta's arms and body broke free, a bolt of lightning striking down the spot where Geno had previously been.
Stupid doll!
The ground shook in a rhythmic fashion, knocking me off my feet, and even giving Geno a bit of trouble. Mac stood tall alongside Cackletta, his hilt gleaming with green and purple. The blade of his knife shone with a new purpose.
I was built to serve one and only one,
Mac boomed, glaring our way. Cackletta grinned wickedly.
to serve massively cool parties.
Mac cheered, pogo sticking up and down and all over the floor, bouncing to a beat that only his corrupted robot senses could hear.
Yeah, party! Woo!
Alpha.
Cackletta scowled. I am not writing down the language she used.
Yeah!
Number 3 shouted along with Mac, jumping onto his hilt and riding him like a bucking bronco. He tossed confetti around with each bounce. A disco ball appeared, somehow.
Now this is my kind of guy.
Seems your magic wasn't good enough, Goombella said smugly.
It would have been if you hadn't bothered me,
Cackletta retorted. Enough foolishness. Geno didn't appear amused anymore. Come quietly, or we will use force. Cackletta retracted from his approach, sweat dribbling down her leathery forehead.
You have no proof! I wouldn't hurt a fly!
Goombella burst out laughing. There are witness statements, a missing fire flower, and traces of magic that all have your name on it, not to mention Fawful's statements. Geno kept himself composed, even as Mac and Number 3 bounced around in the background. Oh, Number 1 was there now too. When did he get back? Bloodshot eyes dotted from wall to wall, fangs grinding together so hard that actual sparks were flying out of her mouth. Seemed the time for worrying had passed. Her deadly smile gleamed as she plotted her next move.
You fools ain't getting me that easily.
She cackled, a puff of smoke enveloping her and the foyer. The Sniffets used the opportunity to bring out some glow sticks.
So long, suckers!
A tiny voice said. Ignoring the smoke, Geno pointed to a creepy, green-headed bat laughing and making its way for the window that I fell through. Luigi, stop her! Something about orders from others always made me perform them. Without even realizing it, I had already pulled out the nozzle from my poltergust and aimed it at the creepy bat, hitting the switch for maximum suck. Hey, I just realized, I suck, so it makes sense I'd be good at it. Cackletta's little voice wailed as her bat form fell to the tile with a wet slapping noise. Geno sprinted over, body glowing with red star power. Before he could reach her, a lightning bolt struck his back, knocking him down into a burning pile of wood. Cackletta appeared from the shadows, her grinning maw wide open, unable to contain her glee.
How stupid do you think I am? Running away from you morons won't do me any good. Best I just kill you all now, huh?
Geno! Geno!
Goombella cried, rushing over to the flames, stomping them out as well as she could.
Hey, come on, you okay?
I'm fine, he replied, although his voice sounded almost like static, his cape practically burnt to a crisp. The back of his head was charred and black. Keep your focus on her.
Ooh, I'm gonna enjoy killing you three.
Cackletta spread her arms wide, wider still, her robes enveloping everything and everyone in darkness.
Just like your smug brother, boy.
She admitted it. For some reason, it didn't scare me. It didn't anger me either. Truth be told, I don't think I could explain what I was feeling then. I don't think I'll ever understand it.
That's right! That's right!
She laughed, her voice echoing all around us, bolts of lightning jolting around at every shadow, just narrowly missing us.
Feels good to say that. I killed that Mario. No one else could. No one but me. What makes you think you three idiots stood a chance where he didn't, huh?
Shut up!
Goombella shouted, running towards the sound of her voice.
You're such a cliché villain!
Am I, girl?
Cackletta said with a sneer, a dozen of her laughing forms surrounding the Goomba.
Well, why don't we stick with the clichés then and stomp the weakest pest,
I found myself somehow in the midst of the battle, whacking and wailing frantically, attempting to stomp on any Cackletta I could find. Every single one just turned into laughing bats. Even Goombella was having a difficult time trying to discern them, her head bonking into the ground desperately as she tried to land a hit.
Yeah. You idiots don't even know which is the real me!
She screeched, a claw stretching out and grabbing Goombella by her ponytail. She pinned her against some dark wall with ease, much too far out of my reach.
Now, I'll just...
A disc of pure light cut through Cackletta's arm, slicing Goombella free. Geno nodded to her.
You stupid termite-infested blockhead!
Cackletta hissed, the darkness evaporating around us.
I'm a boss. That little world trick won't work on me.
When the tower came back into vision, Cackletta's arm did as well, torn and broken like a deflated balloon.
I shouldn't have wasted my time on those weaklings when you're the only real threat around here.
Wordlessly, Geno threw out more of those discs of light in her way, each slicing and cutting at what seemed like the speed of light. Star power. Jeez. However, with Cackletta's focus on him, her spine cracked and bended impossibly, avoiding the shots like a shadow avoids a flashlight. Dark holes dripped out from her robe, pulsating towards Geno, threatening to drag him down into the depths of the earth. But... bonk!
Ow!
Cackletta whined, rubbing her head where Goombella had left quite a nasty bruise.
How annoying! How rude! 3-on-1 isn't very fair,
said the witch, who constantly lied, cheated, and backstabbed. She turned her attention back to Goombella, who was, of course, blowing a raspberry at her. I took this opportunity to land another jump on her now tenderized head.
Cut that out!
She swatted at me.
Ugh, this is not happening! I've had enough of this!
Even for a bean, she's got a big mouth.
Goombella groaned.
Shut up!
Cackletta roared, her body contorting yet again. Her face grew into a thing of nightmares. Her fangs sharpened, her eyes widened, and her mouth opened.
You're the one who's been talking the whole time.
I said shut up!
Her mouth took up the entire room, yellowed teeth dripping with acid and rage.
I'll gobble you all up and reunite you with that stupid red mustache!
Musty breath slapped against my face, hitting a gag reflex in the back of my throat. Goombella turned to me and Geno, eyes wide. What were we meant to do? We were already in her mouth, already enveloped by the shadows. We were already witch food.
Yes, who needs a stupid crystal star, a bean star, a star piece? I certainly don't. I have all the power I need. Enjoy the rest of eternity in my belly, worms!
I gotta say, eaten by a witch was not the way I expected to die. Alone in front of a TV, sure. Yeah, that sounded right. But a witch's meal? Geez, what went wrong in my life to put my death here? Although I guess I should be a bit more optimistic, this death is way less depressing. Probably a whole lot more painful, though. Oh, right. Sorry to lead you on there. It was a good thing I didn't actually die, or else I wouldn't be able to write this.
Party!
Mac continued to bellow in his monotonous voice, bouncing and slamming his body around. One of those places happened to be Cackletta's back, which was still very much available for stabbing. Her gaping maw dissipated instantly, her body shriveling up into the dried-out bean that she was. Cackletta fell to the floor, clutching at her poor back with her last good claw hopelessly.
No! No, you're joking! You're joking!
She spat out, face down in her own drool.
I am not losing right now. I was so close. And to my own.
A backstab, eh? Geno mused, standing over the witch's broken and battered body.
Poetic justice.
Goombella cheered.
A stupid coincidence!
Cackletta screamed.
Oh my god, we ran over Grandma.
Number 3 gulped, still hanging onto Mac.
She was kind of a jerk, though.
Number 1 chugged a drink out of a red plastic cup.
I can't die!
Cackletta sputtered, her limbs wobbling, her body turning into an almost gaseous form.
You can't arrest me! Give up, losers!
Sorry. I whimpered as I gently sucked up her essence into the Poltergeist 3000. It was a little too loud and quite jarring.
No, come on, no!
Cackletta cried, clawing at the tiles as the vacuum sucked her up.
Not like this! Not to this pathetic fool! No!
Thwomp. My vacuum spurted out some witch dust as it finished cleaning her up. I promptly vacuumed that as well. Good to be thorough.
Luigi!
Goombella hopped up, bumping her squishy cheek against mine.
You did it! That was great!
A hot, splintery hand gently held my shoulder. Your brother would be proud, Luigi. Huh? Me? But I didn't do anything. It was all of them. All I did was clean up a little. Speaking of which, this place was a mess.
When are you gonna learn to accept you're not that bad, Luigi?
Goombella shook her head and sighed. I mean, I know it's hard. I feel the same way about myself sometimes. But even what little I did was totally great. Even under the charred remains of the doll's face, I could tell Geno was attempting a smile. I am not one to self-congratulate, but I think I did quite well too. Well, yes, they did great. Of course they did. Maybe I was helpful too, I suppose. I guess I did jump through the window, although that was more like falling.
Did we mention how amazing that was?
The Sniffets shouted in unison, holding on to their party-crazed Mac, who was sort of just background noise at this point. I guess I did do good. Maybe I could have done better. Mario would have done better. But I did pretty good. For me, at least. Yeah.
Okay, good. Self-congratulations are great.
Goombella looked over to the unconscious bag of teeth. That was Fawful.
But we should probably get these guys back into the station and dealt with quickly before one of them does something super lame.
Agreed.
But the party's just getting started.
Number 1 whined.
Booster will be back soon. We were thinking about getting that cake from that Chef Torte guy.
It was hard to say no to my Sniffet friends, but I did have an evil witch of limitless power strapped to my back at that moment. Maybe we could hang out later?
Oh man, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Number 3 sniffed.
Dude, we've got Super Nintendo. Best graphics on the planet. You come over whenever you want, okay? Now that Grandma's gone, we can be a little bit more chill.
Okie dokie, I said happily, waving back at them as I left the tower with the others. I had to admit, I almost had a skip in my step. Alright, that was chapter 11. This was done in basically 2 sessions. We got our final battle. Cackletta's been taken down. I don't know if the next chapter is going to be that long, to be honest. There were quite a few retakes here. So the audio is currently at like an hour 37 minutes in total. I don't know how long this episode's going to be, actually. I think it'll actually be shorter than the last one. Maybe that's just me thinking. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Next one's going to be the last one. So I guess it's just going to be the wrap-up. So maybe it'll be shorter. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah. I guess that's all I have to say. Oh, yeah. The Sniffets were back. Yeah. I definitely appreciated the Sniffets being back. Fun guys, those dudes. Yeah. I don't think anything is going to really surpass... I don't think anything here is really going to surpass my performance as Cackletta in Chapter 5, but, well, we'll see what happens. Yeah. I think Fawful was pretty decent. I don't know. I'd have to go back and check for that. Well, I'll see when I edit. I don't think I have much else to say here. Yeah, so, as always, thank you for listening. You'll hear me next time. Have a nice day. Ciao.